Welcome to Blue Collar Startup, the podcast where hard work meets big ideas. Whether you're a seasoned veteran of the trades, a student learning to swing a hammer, or an entrepreneur building your business from scratch, this is our home for real talk, real stories, and real strategies from the front lines of life and the business of the trades. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Nelson. Apparently, I'm a lifelong entrepreneur and a firm believer that success doesn't come from shortcuts. I actually do believe that. It comes from showing up, grinding it out, and learning from every busted knuckle along the way.
And I'm your co-host, Derek Foster, blue-collar entrepreneur and believer in the power of hustle, hard work, and not giving up. Each week, we dive into the mindset, mechanics, and moments that define the blue-collar journey to success. If you're ready to roll up your sleeves and make it happen, you're in the right place.
So grab your gear, fire up your coffee. Let's get to work. Welcome back, everybody. That was actually our new intro that Dee and I are test driving. And coincidentally, we're sharing a microphone today, which if you've seen, I think, was that the Munter Enterprises episode where we shared a mic?
It was, yeah.
You'll see that actually works to Dee's advantage because we all know it's hard to get me to shut up, so he can just pull the mic away from me anytime.
Right away. I won't do that to you. Don't worry.
So take two for us here at Hudson Valley Community College, HVCC, affectionately known on the show as the Blue Collar College. That's what we call it. We had a little mishap the last time we tried to record, and but we're back.
Absolutely.
And we're excited.
We don't give up.
We don't give up. I think we said that, didn't we? Anyway, I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves because everybody knows that I always mess up names and titles and everything else. So, Joe, do you want to start?
Sure. Yeah. I'm Joe Dana, Department Chair for Engineering, Architecture, and Manufacturing.
Very nice. Amy?
And I'm Amy Posner. I'm our Chief Advancement Officer and the Interim Executive Director of the Hudson Valley Community College Foundation.
Very nice.
And I'm Chris McNally. I'm the Department Chair of Applied Technologies.
Very nice. All right, so I know we've got a lot to talk about, and you guys are kind enough to give us a quick tour here. The building we're in is, what's it called again?
The Gene Haas Center for Advanced Manufacturing.
Yeah, and it's pretty advanced. You showed us some robotic arms that I thought was wild.
Yeah. We have really 4, main labs, even 5 downstairs with an industrial maintenance lab. But yeah, we have a lab that's chock full of robotic arms. We actually partner a little bit with RPI, and they come here and use that for their computer science program.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat having those relationships across the board, right?
Yeah, we do that, and we also, with our senior lab down here, we have our students make parts within our lab for their mechanical engineering, industrial engineering class, 300 parts per project. So we kind of turn into a fabrication shop for them. It's pretty cool for their capstone project and ours as well.
Yeah. Very cool. And we actually just got to do a big check presentation, which is always a fun time. Yeah. We got to give Hudson Valley a check for $1,500. Thank you very much to the support from MLB Construction. Chloe and Damien came down, and you'll see some pictures of that on social media. And while I'm mentioning them, I should probably mention the other sponsors as well. So big shout out to People Ease, Martin Electric, MLB Construction, of course, Bonaccio Construction, Michael's Group, Catamount Consulting, Scott and Stacy, thank you for all that you do. Really appreciate you guys. Of course, Derek's company, Daigle Cleaning Systems, that helps support Derek and give him the space to be able to do this show while his team is running it. And then, of course, our team over at 5 Towers Media for producing the show and doing all the great work. Taylor, you're the best. So let's get into it.
So let me jump in there because you just talked about our sponsors and check presentation. So here at Hudson Valley Community College, we are really fortunate that we have a lot of resources to support students in their educational endeavors and to meet their goals. We've got lots of scholarships available. We've got opportunities for students to be able to obtain tools and materials and other things that they need to be successful in the classroom. SUNY just launched the new SUNY Reconnect program, which for students 25 to 55 basically is a free ride in community college. Veteran opportunities, if you're a vet, there's also lots of opportunities for you to take advantage of. And we are set up here with for student success. We have a very robust student success center, career counseling, an ASAP program for student parents. So we are really the school where if you want to go and get a great career and have every support possible to make sure you can succeed, really Hudson Valley is the place for you.
Yeah, I mean, give me the mic, Derek. So First of all, this campus is beautiful. I know last time we were here, we were talking, and I was asking about how old the campus was, and I was very surprised to hear that it wasn't like new, because it looks new. It looks beautiful. It looks very high tech and modern, and the architecture, the aesthetic, it's very clean. Everywhere you go, it's not like other college campuses I've seen in my past, but and Amy, I think you had talked about it last time. Do you remember when the college was founded?
Yeah, so the college was founded in the 50s. We're coming up on our 75th anniversary. And it was actually started in an old plant, an old manufacturing building in Troy that I've heard stories from alumni back in those days who'd say that, they literally had no water pressure up past the 5th floor, and they had to go downstairs to, they had fire buckets for using the bathroom and flushing the toilets. They had no women's rooms because it had been a plant where ladies did not work. So they actually had to build a, women's restroom. And eventually the county purchased this property, and they came on over here and started building our beautiful campus. And this is just one of our really state-of-the-art buildings. We have fabulous facilities in all the health sciences, for biotech. Our science building's amazing. And we got it all here.
You got it all. I know they offer, we joke all the time about it being the blue collar college, but obviously you have a lot of programs that are not just trades oriented, if I'm not mistaken. But did you say last time but it did start as
a technical college.
A technical college to support the trades locally?
Yeah, it was Hudson Valley Technical College originally to support the trades, specifically for veterans coming back from, I guess it was Korea back then.
Yeah.
To be able to come and learn a trade and be able to get a job and enter the workforce. So
yeah, it's amazing.
That's how we got started.
So a long, rich history in the trades.
Long, rich history. And speaking of other opportunities outside of the trades, we do have lots of programs that are segues into four-year colleges. We have articulation agreements, which means seamless transferring from Hudson Valley to a four-year school. And listen, the trades need management and managers too. That's all part of it. It all fits in together in a great synergy.
Well, especially today, like in today's environment with companies like MLB, right? I mean, these are big companies, and they have lots of levels of what they do, and oversight and management and project management and,
architects and engineers and business managers and HR people and everything.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So where should we start? Joe?
I got one thing to add.
Oh, there we go.
We're going to steal the microphone here.
You have to.
Amy, I heard you mention before that there's a high school affiliate or program for the younger students as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about that before we jump into the next topic?
Sure. We have a Questar STEM high school here on campus. And it's specifically to prepare students in the STEM field. They're right here. They take college courses and really get college ready for the modern workforce that our area and that the world is going to need. Additionally, we have summer college in the high school coursework that is actually administered in the high schools out there in the world, in New York, where students can take college level courses through Hudson Valley, obtain the credit, so that when they do go to college, they've already got some of those basic core classes, core requirements out of the way, and they can just dive right into it and get right into things in a much quicker way.
And a P-Tech program as well.
Oh yeah, go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, so up at our North Campus up in Malta, we also have the P-Tech program, which started off as a partnership with Ballston Spa School District and Hudson Valley Community College, where the students will come in, they're high school students, they're in their school district, and they take their majority of their courses through their school, but then they come to our North Campus and they can specialize in areas like clean energy, engineering technology, and they end up finishing their high school diploma and one additional year, and they've got an associate's degree.
Oh, wow.
So there's we're the community's college. We reach out to everybody.
Yeah. And I would be remiss along those lines not to also say that we have a facility in South Albany that offers some coursework, and our Educational Opportunity Center in downtown Troy, which offers things like cosmetology classes, some culinary food service kind of things. I don't even know the whole plethora of offerings that they have there at either free or very low cost. They're non-accredited classes, but they are to get you going.
Still getting skills.
And get you going in a career. And it's a beautiful facility.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you, and maybe it's like the North Campus, the high school that's here, is that like they're there all day, or is it similar to the North Campus?
No, they're here. They're right across where we are sitting.
So they do their whole high school is there?
Whole high school is there. They even had a prom this year.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So from an attendance standpoint, is that treated like a private school from a high school? Is it a public school? Like, how does that work?
I think it's a charter school.
A charter?
Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, through BOCES.
Yeah.
Through BOCES?
Yeah, Questar 3. Yep.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Very cool.
Yep. They take their core high school classes, but then they also have a pathway that they focus on. It could be manufacturing here. And they take applicable courses, whether it be their math, and then they finally get into a lab. The goal is to ultimately get them here, at least at STEM High, a 2-year degree when they graduate high school. That's their goal. So it's not just the high school plus 1 year like P-Tech. They actually have had their first graduating class, and some of them got an associate's degree and a high school diploma.
So they're 18 years old and hitting the workforce with skills, making money.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yep.
Young and energetic.
That's what we need, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so many kids right now are leaving high school and they're still not ready to, be adults, so to speak, and get out in the workforce and start making a career. They still have years to go through other channels. So it's just, I think it's great because, 4-year school is not for everybody.
Definitely.
Very nice. So Joe, I want to talk more about the robotics, man. And importantly though too, because we were talking about it before, and we were kind of half joking, but talking about the fact that, and you might have actually brought it up, where part of the program is teaching these kids on how to break these robotics down, how to repair them, how to maintain them, how to rebuild them when things go awry. And I do think that that's an important thing to talk about, right? Because everybody's, talking about AI these days and talking about it invading the workforce and what it's going to do to jobs. And, I just, like we'd said, you still got to fix those things.
Yeah.
Those things, they're still machines any way you look at it. They're super cool machines and they do really cool things, but they still need to be maintained. So can we just talk about, and I don't, maybe who wants to start on it, but.
I'll kind of piggy up back right into Chris with this, but I think we teach not even, I wouldn't say different levels, but just different focus points of the robotics, right? So we have computer science robotics class that focuses really on the programming language and understanding like smooth movements of how it actually might go and pick something up, like the waypoints. And that's within our computer science department. But they use this facility. And then we also have a manufacturing robotics, which they also learn a little bit of programming as well, how to tie it to some of these Haas machines and really be involved with it, troubleshooting and whatnot. And then we have the Mechatronics program that also has robotics in it, which maybe deals with a little bit more of the maintenance, preventative maintenance, and troubleshooting anything that may have gone awry. And really, the manufacturing and the mechatronics are very similar in a way, and I believe they're actually taught by the same instructor, Ronald Odell here, who does a great job with it. So really good classes, and just like a lot of our skills that are learned within manufacturing, electricians, automotive, welding, whatever it may be, a lot of those are applicable to the industry of, say, Global Foundries. They're a huge partner for us, right? So they come in here and they're looking at semiconductors, but really now they're taking mechatronics courses and automotive courses, and that's where kind of leeway into Chris's area. So it's pretty amazing.
When you look at those big companies like Global Foundries, their equipment, somebody's got to fix it. First of all, somebody's got to install it. Mm-hmm. And that's a major process in and of itself. Then you have to do the consistent maintenance on it, and then when they break down, which they do, somebody's got to fix it. And Global Foundries, working with Hudson Valley a few years ago, figured out that that's the demand that they have. They're not looking for engineers with a 2-year degree. Those engineers, they need to have that master's degree, that PhD. What they need are the technicians who are going to keep the tools up and running day in and day out. So we've been partnering with them for years, and we're training their employees. So they're coming in, they're taking credit courses in our mechatronics programs, And we're working with Global Foundries using equipment they've donated so that the students are actually working on the actual pieces that they're going to run into in industry. And that's blossomed out. So now we're starting to work with other companies doing the same things, bringing them in, training their employees. When they hire somebody new, sometimes they'll send them here for the 2-year degree program and then bring them on full time. Sometimes they'll send them here part time, take a couple of classes at night, get their degree while they're working full time for the company. And it is all, Joe touched on it. These are all transferable skills. Mm-hmm. When Global Foundries, when they're hiring people, they love to hire auto mechanics. Because auto mechanics understand electricity, they understand mechanical fixtures, they understand hydraulics, pneumatics, they do all that stuff. They read diagrams, they're used to following diagnostic procedures. So those skills, they're all transferable into these quote unquote high-tech industries. It's the same skills, it's just applying them a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really fascinating to watch like all these new industries that are popping up around all these new technologies, right? Like again, we as a country, obviously we talk a lot about the gaps that we have in the workforce for, a lot of things, but the trades especially, which is one that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But it seems like every time there's a new technology, there's a whole nother industry that pops up that is trade related. Right, yep. Being able to fix things, being able to diagnose what's wrong with something, and going in, it's fascinating to watch. As you guys were talking, I was wondering, as far as challenges that you see as a school, like, do you see enrollment gaps, or do you have people lining up to get into like the trades programs? Like, do you guys have a picture on that at all?
Yeah, so we're actually right in the thick of it with enrollment for next year.
Yeah.
And we have a really high demand for the programs in applied technologies. I'll let Joe talk about his areas. But, our automotive programs are full. Our HVAC program, full. ECM, we're filling up quickly. We got a wait list. We're pulling off the wait list. We always have a wait list to get into the ECM is electrical construction maintenance, the electrician training, and also line workers. So the people are going out and fixing the lines during the winter when you lose power. There's always a wait list of 3 figures students trying to get into those programs. So we see a really, really strong demand for these industries because there's good wages. Plus, it's rewarding work. As teachers, sometimes we walk out of class and we wonder, did I really accomplish anything? If you're an auto mechanic, when you go home at night, you know what you accomplished. Mm-hmm. It's black and white. You know what you accomplished. And there's a definite reward to that. And so, these industries, these applied technologies, there's a growth there. People want this kind of work.
Yep. I completely agree with that. And same with our programs. Like welding right now, we're not necessarily on a wait list, but it's first come, first serve. And we have more accepted students than what we have spots for, right? So we're kind of in that situation. Same with construction. Construction has been booming. We had 74 applicants a couple of years ago. We're at 140, 50 applicants this year. So almost doubled in our applicants, which is going to increase our enrollment by a certain amount. But the skills are needed. The workforce is needed. And I think it's finally starting to happen where maybe 2-3 years ago, we did see a dip in our enrollment. But I think the past 2-3 years, it's been coming up by I think even 5-10% it came up last year. And they've been going into different fields, but now finally getting into these real applicable skilled areas. And in particular, electrical construction maintenance, we've been hearing a lot more from companies that we're going to be getting more strongly into BIM. So building integration with the actual 3D modeling. And anybody that's on the wait list that really can't get into your program, we're actually talking to them about taking our CAD certificate. So 1 year you take our CAD certificate, you learn SolidWorks, Revit, HVAC and plumbing and mechanical skills like 3D modeling them and understanding the blueprints even more. So then you have those skills when you become an electrician. Maybe you can become a project manager or foreman or something that actually uses this BIM modeling technology.
One of you guys should say something about the airport.
What's the airport? Which airport? The Albany Airport?
Yeah, Albany Airport. So we've got a maintenance program. So people who want to be aircraft technicians, We've got a training program for them, FAA-Approved. So you go through the training program, and when you graduate and you pass the test, you're fully certified by FAA to get a job as an aircraft technician. And we're in the process right now of making this into a degree program. So right now it's a non-credit program, fully certified by FAA. It's exactly what you need to have in order to become an airplane mechanic. The next step is to turn it into a degree program. The degree will be of assistance to people who want to continue their education. Mm-hmm. So somebody who wants, they just want to be an aircraft mechanic. You don't have to have the degree. You can get the training, you can get the FAA certification through our program at the airport and go out and have an amazing career fixing planes, making lots of money, traveling, seeing the world. But if you are somebody who's looking to move into a different area, maybe you want to move into a management position, maybe you want to be a supervisor, something like that, that's where the degree program comes into play. And the degree will be 100% online. So people can take it while they're working and they're making that good money as an airplane mechanic, and they can get their degree in aviation. I'm not sure exactly what the specific title is going to be, but aviation mechanical technology.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
There's just no end to the programs that you can come up with.
No end.
Right?
No end.
For all you young kids, listening to this, there's nothing better than going to school and learning, but also getting paid while you're doing it to perfect what you're learning in the classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so many of these programs, our students are in such high demand that even before they graduate, they're lined up with well-paying jobs, getting started into their careers on a really good foot. And these are just some of the things, as I mentioned before, we have huge health sciences, nursing, dental hygiene, dental assisting. We have a mortuary science program. A lot of people don't know that, but we do. Our biotech program is also off the charts. That's helping to work with companies like Regeneron, things like that. So there's lots and lots of ways to take advantage of the many opportunities in our region to have a really good life ahead of you.
Joe, you had mentioned welding before.
Mm-hmm.
I have it on good authority from Mike Zajac at Zajac Mechanical that welders are the next wave of millionaires in this country. Can you speak to that?
I don't doubt it. I believe it in terms of there's always going to need to be somebody that needs to perform that. And especially, I'll take it even further, is like understanding the non-destructive testing side of that as well, right? Being very technical with understanding what could have gone wrong or right with your weld. And we have that side of it as well. So we revamped our 2-year program that now has non-destructive testing involved. And you could go take that as a pathway to being an inspector or like a certified welding inspector as a part of that. But we have robotic welders here on campus as well. So students, next generation, like you're saying, they're going to need to know how to work with those. They're going to need to know how to troubleshoot, maintenance, all that. Because you can only replace so much, You're not going to be able to replace a plumber, a welder, somebody that's a machinist. You can't always replace them with robots, right? That's just not a thing. So, yeah, high demand and low inventory is going to make the price of everything go up. And, yeah, I could see them being the next, generation wave of people that are going to be, so on and so forth of millionaires.
Yeah, he was very confident in that statement when he said. I think he said it on. I don't know if it was off air or on the show, but he was very confident in that statement. And I've actually heard that too. But like welding is just in such high demand. There's so few welders out there. I keep saying I'm gonna learn how to weld.
You gonna sign up?
I know. I still got to get through the RV Technical Institute, the program that I'm doing. So I know you touched on job placement. And for the folks that are considering the trades, is it fair? It's probably not 100% of people because there's the human factor that they just decide they don't want to do it or whatever happens. But do you guys know what the job placement percentage is?
For my programs, it's 100%.
Wow.
And we have, our students are actually, almost all of them are working while they're students. The only people that aren't working in the industry are the ones who choose not to. So occasionally I'll have somebody say, well, I've got a job and I'm running the cash register at Cumberland Farms and they're paying me $18 an hour and I can do my homework in between customers. Mm-hmm. Whereas if they were working as an electrician or they were working as an auto mechanic, you don't have that time down. So occasionally we'll have some that don't have a job in the industry while they're students, but for the most part, our students are working. And if they want a job in the industry, they've got it. Mm-hmm. So, it literally is 100%. When I'm looking at the programs in applied technologies, HVAC, electricians, auto technicians, auto collision technicians, these students are in high demand. We run a career fair twice a year, and we have, last one we had almost 90 employers here for the day recruiting students. And I tell them when they come in, be prepared to bid for these students because there's 10 other employers in your industry who are talking to the same students, and the students want to know how much are you paying, what are the benefits going to be. Be prepared to bid. You're not just going to sweep these kids off their feet because they know what they're worth.
I wonder how it is with other programs outside of the trades that don't have that. If you're a potential hire and you literally can go work at anywhere because they all are short, right? They're all having staffing outages and shortages, and it's just an amazing thing. I mean, again, to your point, right? Supply and demand. Yeah. There's a low supply, high demand that equals money. Right?
I think the opposite side of that too, right? Since we are a complete college where we do have a lot of programs that do transfer on to 4-year colleges, those 4-year colleges are hurting too. Right. So it's actually a really competitive time for students to go get scholarships, to go get those opportunities at 4-year schools and say, oh, well, I got accepted to all these schools now. And it's like, can you work with me on, a scholarship or money, especially if you have good grades. So I think it's across the board kind of working that way. Like we have colleges talking with us that we haven't quite talked to maybe in the past 10 years that now are knocking on our doors a little bit more because maybe they are hurting for enrollment. Mm-hmm. So the opportunity for the student is definitely something that's out there, across the board, I believe.
And I would like to just add to that, the opportunity for sponsors and supporters is out there too. That investment in Hudson Valley Community College, and in particularly we have some very major capital campaigns that are in the works and on the horizons that are designed to feed into our workforce and to meet the needs of our community. So for those companies or individuals who would like to invest in that, we have lots of great opportunities that's going to have a great return on that investment.
I was actually going to ask along those lines. So to mention RV Technical Institute again. So when we had Kurt, sorry, Kurt, I just want to be sure. When we had Kurt on, he was talking about that a lot of the major RV manufacturers actually subsidize the programs to make the cost of tuition for students coming in a lot lower. Do you guys see any of that in the different programs that you have? Like, do you have major organizations coming in, like the airplanes, like and saying like, hey, we have a dire need for mechanics and we'll help subsidize tuition or cost or anything like that?
Yeah. So the aircraft maintenance is an example of that. The airlines that run out of Albany, they need technicians. Mm-hmm. They're short on technicians, and they actually were the ones who initiated this and say, hey, if you get this program up and running, we are going to help with tuition, with tools, with books. I mentioned earlier Global Foundries. They're a huge supporter of our Mechatronics programs. They're sending their employers. They're hiring our students. They're taking in our students as apprentices. So yeah, there are definitely a lot of opportunities along those lines.
We're sitting in the Gene Haas building. Mm-hmm. So what you see their contribution all around us. That's to support students.
Yep. And we have a great advisory board that's a part of our CNC machining technology program that, operates out of this Gene Haas Center. And they have, brought up at meetings, it's time for us to start, benefiting, these students with scholarships and starting to kind of bring them in, because we need them, right? The return on investment. So that is being talked about at our advisory board meetings, by Global Foundries and across the board in a lot of these skilled areas.
Yeah. I just feel like that's, one of the barriers for students, right, is coming in. It's like, how am I going to pay for it all?
Yeah. And, speaking from my perspective, the cost of coming to Hudson Valley Community College, when you compare it to even going to SUNY Albany, it's substantially less. But it's still a barrier for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so there are so many opportunities through the foundation, through financial aid. National Grid has a scholarship program for our electrician training program and our line workers program, where they pay full tuition, tools, everything, textbooks, plus they assign each student a mentor from National Grid.
Oh, wow.
That is responsible for making sure that they're getting what they need. So, as Joe and Amy were saying, the companies are really stepping up to support because they see the need.
Yeah.
And they see this isn't going to stop. This isn't, just a small ripple. This is huge, and it's just going to keep growing. There's this tremendous need for people with these skills.
Yeah.
And they see Hudson Valley, we were doing it. We've been doing it for 75 years. I'm proud to say the automotive department, which I'm fortunate enough to lead, was one of the original programs. So, we've been here for 75 years supplying the Capital District with technicians and employees. So it's a great legacy.
This is kind of an off-subject question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I'm known for that. Do you think you could put some pressure on the automakers to simplify cars again? I want to be able to change my own battery without having to know computers. And I tried to change my battery a couple of weeks ago and I couldn't do it because it's hooked to a computer terminal and then it's got to get recalibrated after it puts it. I didn't even know this until I went to change the battery of the car. Yep. And I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And I start some Google searching and I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I couldn't change my own battery.
Yeah, you got to reprogram it when you change the battery because the alternator has been programmed and is adapted over time to charge the battery more. You put a brand new battery in, you're going to overcharge it.
Yeah.
So, these are all these details. And these are the things we're coming to Hudson Valley, or coming to a college like this. We have the time and the ability to train people about these things. If you were to just go to work in a shop, that's a great way to start to a certain extent. But nobody in the shop has the time to train you about these details because they're all busy fixing cars, doing whatever. Here at Hudson Valley, that's what we do. We train you about these details. So the thing that your dad isn't able to show you out in the driveway anymore, like happened with me 40 years ago, that doesn't happen to the same extent. That's what we do. We're giving you that foundational knowledge, and we're also training you, teaching you how to keep up as the technology changes. Because, when we look at it, 40 years in the automotive industry, the changes I've been through, everything had a carburetor when I started. You can't find a carburetor these days. I mean, it's just the completely different industry. And it's been a lifelong learning adventure for me. And that's what we're training our students for. We're educating them for lifelong learning so they can continue to grow in these industries that they're working in.
It's almost like the automotive industry, the automotive training now was like what the computer science was 20 years ago, right? Because but I think the car technology and chips they use is always older, right? So it's like you almost have to be a computer programmer now in order to be able to be a car mechanic.
You do, and we're actually doing board level repairs on computers. So when if you were to buy a part for a car that's 5 years old, that part might not be available from the manufacturer. You're going to have to go aftermarket, and you might have to reprogram the computer that controls that part. And sometimes that means actually opening up the computer, removing, desoldering components, and soldering in new components. And then you got to write the program, reprogram the computers, which is going to be one of 100 computers in your just basic Kia base model car. And they've all got to communicate together. So it's a significantly different industry than the one I got into when I was 15 years old.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Or like the robotic welders. We have a client that actually has one in their shop, and it's just wild. I'm like, robotic welders, like what does that even do?
Yeah. And honestly, aside from that too, is like the CNC machining down here. Like a lot of students first, when they learn the hands-on tools, not really powered tools to begin, and then they make their way to the computer board, so to speak, and they start programming, and like learning how to script and actually do what CNC machining is. then that's when they really get hooked, right? Because then it's a little bit more like what they're used to growing up with, video games and phone and stuff like that. So, it's stuff that people don't really have the awareness of, that it actually can be a really fulfilling and exciting job, career.
That's one of the coolest things about that program that Joe runs. They're training them to be machinists, first of all. And you'll hear the faculty members saying, you're not touching these CNC machines until you understand what that machine is actually doing.
Yep.
So making them be machinists first and then get into the computer control side of it, that's awesome. I really admire that.
Yeah, they do a great job. This is definitely one of the best programs, I would say, in the East Coast. I mean, it's incredible. And facility-wise, too, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's beautiful facilities.
Yeah.
So, as you guys are looking to the future, what kind of challenges or what kind of trends do you see in your programs?
For me, the biggest thing, I just mentioned it a minute ago, is the lifelong learning. And making sure that the students who come into our programs realize that, you're not going to leave here as an expert electrician. You're not going to be an expert HVAC technician. This is a lifelong process. It's going to take you, 5 years to get to the point where you are proficient. It's just like, if you go to a surgeon, you don't want a surgeon who just graduated last week. You want somebody who's got a couple of years experience. She's been out in the field. She's done it. The same thing with any of the people in our programs. A welder, you want somebody who's got a little bit of experience because it takes time. Welding is an art. It truly is. You can teach anybody the basic skills. I can make two pieces of metal stick together. Yeah, but it's not welding. I'd be embarrassed to show anybody, and that's after years and years of doing it. It takes time and practice to become proficient at it. And then once you become proficient at that, now you have to move into the latest technology. So, robotic welding and whatever comes after that. And it's just a constant lifelong process. And that's one of the biggest things that we do here at Hudson Valley is we not only train you for today's job, but we're also preparing you to make sure you're ready for tomorrow's job and 10 years down the road. So you don't have a job, you got a career, you got a profession.
Right.
And speaking to that, it's also never too late. We have here a lot of people who come back to school, who come to Hudson Valley to start a second career, and to find a new place in life and a new direction. It's never too late. Never too late to come to school.
Yeah, I love the lifelong learning aspect of that. Even for us, just as educators, as department chairs, Chris and I, it changes, so frequently. And, adapting to the new technology and really just it keeps us on our toes. And we learn from the students that want to push the limits, and learn new things and ask questions. That's the best thing. I always ask my students why, whenever they do something, like why? Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? So then they can understand, what they're doing and where they're going with it. Right. So lifelong learning is great. And just in general, you'd say maybe what the biggest future, what the implication is or something that's going to hold us back. A lot of instant gratification, that's one of the things that this younger generation seeks a lot that I see is the instant gratification, where a lot of this is you need to learn it. You need to build your skills, be humbled, understanding that you don't understand this, right? And I think that's the beauty of it, though, is if you knew it, then why would you even be here? You'd be stagnating, you'd be kind of just not going anywhere, right? So learning it and struggling through it is definitely a part of the process. And when you get there, finally have that catalyst for growth, which is a lot of the learning here. That's even more rewarding, right? It's not that instant gratification. It's at the end when you see your journey, and it's the younger generation doesn't quite get that right now, and I hope that changes a little bit. So that to me is the future of our student population. That's kind of one of my fears, that instant gratification is kind of deterring some of them from sticking things out.
Where does that come from, you think?
I think it comes from, what they see, Instagram and, social media and whatnot. They see things, the videos are so short, right? So they see somebody doing something that may have actually took them 1,000 hours to master, right? And they're like, I think I can do this. Or they see it done in 10 seconds as opposed to the 10 hours that probably got put into it, right? So social media is definitely driving that. It's also the fact that you can like get a comment or get a like right away. And I think that instant gratification just kind of spirals into the actual school, your education. And when it doesn't happen right away like that, you're like, what the hell am I, what am I doing here? And then they got to fight through that though, right? If they can make it through that, then I think they'll be completely fine.
And, going back to the institutional mindset away from the student mindset, is that the institution has the challenge of remaining current and remaining state of the art and cutting edge and having the resources that we need to be able to provide the kind of educational opportunities that are going to really be ahead of the curve, so that we can prepare students to really succeed.
Well, technology is changing so fast.
It changes so fast. And, unfortunately, everything costs money, right?
But yeah.
You need to upgrade machinery, that's money. You need to make a new building, that's a lot of money. You need to hire wonderful faculty. And here at Hudson Valley, we really strive to always be on that cutting edge.
Yeah. What a challenge. I just keep hearing about how it's just moving faster and faster, and it's going to continue to move faster and faster and faster.
But it's fun.
Yeah. You like that
fun.
chaos?
I like the challenge. I think that's true of anybody who gets into the kind of industries that we're talking about. We like a challenge. We want to do the difficult thing. I don't want to change another Subaru head gasket. I've done 1,000 of them. I want something new. I want something challenging. So the problems
You want a George Jetson car.
Yeah. And so that's one of my big things now is electric vehicles and electric vehicle charging, and it's just it was something new. I've always been low voltage DC. Automobiles forever ran on 12 volt batteries. Now all of a sudden we got 400, 800 volt batteries, and then we're converting that into AC. So it was a new challenge. It was something I didn't know this, but I had to learn it, and I love that challenge. And I see that a lot. Our students, they like to be challenged. They might not always recognize it in themselves, and they've got to learn that this is what they're seeking, but they do. They like to be challenged. They like to see something new and something different, and they love to be able to take something apart and then put it back together, and it works.
It's nice when it works.
Yeah, it's nice when it works.
I'm good at taking things apart.
Yeah, that last part's the hard part.
Yes, it is.
But when you get it, it's awesome. There's nothing like the feeling of actually fixing something that 5 people before you couldn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, hard fought wins are the best wins, for sure.
Yep.
For sure. Amy, I know that you wanted to talk, and we kind of got into it a little bit about some of the foundation and scholarship stuff. Was there anything on there that we didn't get to?
I think we pretty much got to it.
Yeah.
Bottom line is we have scholarships, we have programs, we have opportunities to help people afford school, and you just have to come to our financial aid office, fill out a scholarship application, let us know what your needs are, and if we can help you, for sure we will.
Yeah. I mean, really just takes having the interest, right? Just to find out. It's not
and the drive. I mean, you might have to go to a couple of offices to get what you need because we're a big institution and a bureaucracy.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think I can say 100% everybody here is really student-centered, really committed to helping students, and anybody you talk to here really has the best interest of our students in mind. Yeah.
One thing I'd add to that, we see some students who are shy about applying for scholarships because a lot of them require them to write a paragraph or write a page about their experiences, and our technology students, a lot of times they shy away from that aspect. I just want people to know we're here to help with that too. We got people that will help them write these paragraphs. You can sit down and explain your life situation, and we'll help you. You come to my office. I'm more than happy to sit down and help you write a couple of paragraphs to get a scholarship that's going to make the difference between you coming to school and you not coming to school. That's what we're here for.
It really does sound like you guys do whatever you can to help people get into the programs, right? And there are a lot of resources for people that don't have resources to be able to get into the programs.
Yeah.
So it really is just show up and start asking questions, right?
Yeah.
Knock on the doors.
Knock on the doors. We have a program that's for students who are parents that is specifically designed to help students who are parents succeed in being in school, being a parent, holding down a job, and getting to that finish line.
I know we're getting close on time, but one of the other questions I wanted to ask, based on what you had said earlier, was you have one of the programs you said is 100% online. Do you have a lot of online or hybrid online courses, or how does that work?
In applied technologies, we really don't have a lot of online courses. Mm-hmm. The aviation program is different. The aviation program, you're going to go and you're going to get certified by FAA. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to come to us to take the general ed courses. So your sociology course, your history course. Oh, okay. So those courses are available online. Our technology courses, we want them to be in person, at least as far as the labs. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because let's be honest, you are not going to learn how to take apart an engine by watching a video.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. You got to get your hands on there. You got to have somebody who knows what they're doing. Your followers who are race car fans, Kenny Tremont, he's a Hall of Fame race car driver from the area. He's our engines teacher. When he starts talking about engines, everybody else shuts up. Mm-hmm. And so, that's the kind of person that you want teaching you. And Joe will say the same thing in his programs. Mm-hmm. The hands-on is crucial.
Yeah, I mean, even in our engineering science program, which would probably be the closest thing to, getting a lot of online learning, mm-hmm. a lot of gen eds. But even then, we have labs, we have materials labs, things like that. You can't get through the whole program with being completely online.
Yeah.
But there are chunks, like Chris was saying, at least the labs need to be in person. We do a lot of hybrid lecture, but you got to get your hands dirty. Mm-hmm. you got to do the work. You can't just watch video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't make mistakes if you're watching video, right? And if you make mistakes are where you learn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So with the fall semester coming up, if anybody does want to sign up, how do they go about doing that?
So the first thing that they would do is go to admissions, right? So you go to admissions, you get admitted into the college. Then they're going to, have you do placement testing, whatever it may be. You have a whole checklist, steps, financial aid and everything like that. Once you get through, placement testing or like new student orientation, then you can go meet with one of our advisors. Once you are speaking with them, they're going to guide you in the right direction. We got amazing advisors within our departments. I know Chris and I, we both are very lucky with the advisors that we have, and they'll put you in the right area. Yeah. And then from there, it's pretty much ground running at that point. Yep.
Last question. So we're fortunate enough to have listeners that are all over the country at this point, which is pretty cool. Do you have people come from like other areas of the country to come here to take your programs?
And out of the country.
And out of the country.
Yeah. Our electric vehicle program, every year we have cohorts come up from Costa Rica for training.
Oh, wow.
And so they'll come up and they'll bring 15 to 20. They might be automotive technicians. They might be automotive instructors coming up to get EV training from our faculty. And that's been going on for a number of years. Usually they come during the summer. They made the mistake of coming in February. And I tried to explain to them, we need to go to Costa Rica in February.
Yes,
you don't need to come here.
Going the wrong direction.
They wanted to see snow.
Yeah. And we have connections throughout the country, but also international as well. Yeah.
We have students from Denmark coming in October. They've actually been coming for like 3 years now. They were just here in the spring. They're coming again in October, and they usually learn anything from business skills to CNC machining to construction. I don't know. Have they been up in your area as well?
Yeah, for electrical.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So they're here. Pretty big partner with us. And then of course we do have out of state, especially athletics. Like I used to coach here, and I'd be going to New Jersey and Massachusetts and recruiting to pull football players. And
nice.
And that's most of the time we'll see them in some of our majors, and they're usually the athletes that are coming from out of state. But yeah, we pull from everywhere.
Yeah, and just along those lines, we do have great athletics here. Really, really fabulous athletics in all kinds of sports. And there's also good campus life here. There's fun campus life. We have fun campus activities and events. We have a whole student activities department that puts on new student fairs and international fairs and all kinds of pumpkin contests and the fall, all kinds of things to make it fun also to be at school, so that there's, a really good, well-rounded experience here. We have a great library and learning center, lots of help, academic help when people are having trouble with their academics. We have tutoring available, and everybody's here to help the students. That's we're very, very student focused here.
It's amazing. By the way, I think your new tagline should be lifelong learning starts here.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good one.
Talk to your marketing department.
I've been using "We Can Fix That."
You can fix that? That's good too. That's good
too. Yeah.
Well, everyone, thanks so much for spending some time with us today and to help educate our listeners on what you're doing and the programs you have and why they matter, because obviously they do. Super high demand, and helping to fix some of the challenges we see coming down the road here with the trades. So thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. And thanks everybody for listening. Of course, you can find us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and Rumble. Please make sure that you click the subscribe button, maybe even like an episode, and give us a 5-star review. Only 5-star reviews, by the way. Nothing else is welcome there, guys. Appreciate it, and you'll hear from us next week.
And that wraps up another episode of Blue Collar Startup. A big thank you to our sponsors, 5 Towers Media, Daigle Cleaning Systems, Daigle Fire Solutions, The Michaels Group, Martin Electric, MLB Construction, Bonaccio Construction, Peoplease, and Catamount Consulting for making this podcast possible. And thank you for tuning in. If you learned something or felt inspired, connect with us on our website at bluecollarstartup.io or email us at hardhat.bcsu@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your questions and topic ideas. Help us spread the word by sharing the show and following us on social media for updates. Until next time, keep on building, keep on dreaming, and keep hustling like your future depends on it.